Well, hello there. Welcome to Lead with Soul, the channel for women leaders who are done overcomplicating leadership, success. We are done playing small. Today, my guest is Dr. Jessica Emery, and I want to jump in and just share all of her awesomeness. I've known her for a long, long time, and we were just chatting. We've been on parallel paths
hmm
for what seems like forever, is still a dentist, but you don't practice anymore. So, without further ado and wasting too much time, welcome, Jessica.
Thank
How are
you.
you?
Oh, I was so excited to be here that we're just like finally making this happen. Yay.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for doing this. So, before we get into, chatting about everything that we are always meandering our way through, for those that might not know you, why don't you share a little bit about who you are, your journey, where you were and where you're now, and where you're headed?
Oh my goodness. Well, that is a loaded question. How do I make this tight?
Do
So,
not share all the
yeah.
magic. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I was practicing dentistry. That's when we met. I had a fee-for-service cosmetic dental practice that I started from scratch. 100% collection, so proud of that. Really did that through my branding and marketing, which led me to build Dental Soiree, which is really where we met for a photo shoot, like in person. We had so much fun on that shoot. But fast forward, I was loving dentistry, loved what I was doing. And I had really created a practice by design. I was working under 24 hours a week. I was doing very well. I had time, spacious time to build another business that I was running. And fast forward to quarantine. During quarantine, I was like a crazy mad woman, as we are, doing all of the things. Like, okay, instead of resting and relaxing, I was like, let's create all of the things because dentists are online. And this way I can teach them about branding and marketing because that is such a big passion of mine. And during that time, I had a quarantine dream. We call it the quarantine dream, in which I had a dream about Charleston. And I was living in Chicago at the time. I had my Sugar Fix Dental Loft, my practice. I had Dental Soiree, another brick and mortar space, Dental Soiree, my digital media agency. And then I had White Hot, my teeth whitening bar. So three brick and mortar spaces. And I had a dream about Charleston. Usually you have a dream, vivid dream, and it goes away. Well, the next night I dreamed it again. I was on King Street here. I've never been to Charleston ever. And I said to my husband, "Hey, this is so strange. Usually you dream and it goes away." I dreamed it again, and he said, "Jess, please pick up my iPad that was lying on the floor." Picked it up. He had been looking at golf places here. I said, "That's three. We need to get on a plane and go see what this is about." And the rest is just history. It was a domino effect of yeses. We got on the plane. We came down the only spot that was available on King Street. I assumed immediately when I got out and I saw the magic of 177 King that was in front of me, I felt the energy of the building and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, well, we're here to open another White Hot," right? I thought, sure, we'll have one in Chicago, one in Charleston. Took a
Right.
selfie of myself in the doorway and put it on Instagram. And I said, "White Hot do." And immediately within 5 minutes got pinged from Dr. Brittany Dickinson. She ended up purchasing my practice, but she said, "Oh my gosh, are you relocating? Sugar Fix is my dream." And I said, "No." Very quickly, I said, "No, I'm not planning on
That's my
relocating."
baby.
Right, absolutely. And she said, "Well, would you meet me for coffee? I took one of your courses over, quarantine. I'd love to meet you. We're similar." And so when we got back, I said, "Absolutely, I would love to meet you." When she came to Sugar Fix, and first of all, when we were in Charleston, just to back it up, it was like we lived here. We were on someone's boat. It was literally like I lived here. Everything felt it was just this domino of yes effect. We got back. Brittany came through my front doors, and I knew in every cell of my body, from my head to my toes, that she was supposed to carry on the legacy of Sugar Fix, and I was supposed to relocate. Now, this is someone that had never even entertained the thought, but I am someone that goes with listens. Like, my intuition is I'm very connected to that. And I went home and said to my husband, and thank goodness I have a wonderful husband and soulmate as well, that I just said, "Hey, like, wouldn't this be fun? Like, why don't we just throw the house on the market and see what happens?" And we did. And the first person that walked into the foyer said cash 30-day, you know, in the foyer. I didn't even see the house. It was like full ass 30-day close on the 8th. I have one tattoo on my back, like that's an 8. Like that's my number.
Yeah.
And once again, it was like everything was in play. So literally 3 months because I was fee for service, zero AR. It was the easiest, quickest transition, which was good for my heart, actually. I quantum leaped into my next life. And I documented it, the whole story, the two of us talking through how we felt and our emotions and all of that. My family moved down. I've got 3 children. They moved down to Island of Palms. I stayed back. How in the world I got an apartment literally across from my practice that I watched the lake, the sun come up every morning. It was the most beautiful view. How did I get an apartment for 3 months? I don't even know now when I look back how everything unfolded. But it was Christmas Eve that I drove down here. So it was a 3-month transition. And I never looked back. And my world opened up. Ironically, that building on King Street, I ended up meeting the owner, which you never meet the owners here. You have to go through real estate companies and things like in the South. Like I don't know how I met Phyllis, but she basically, now this is on King Street, like near Louis Vuitton. Like this is high end King Street. Somehow I meet her and she says, I've got 2 sons. They're taken care of. I've got all the money in the world. I want you to have it. Tell me whatever you can do. Don't worry about it. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like what in the world? And all this magic was happening all around me. But at that time, again, intuitively, there was an opening for me in dentistry where I was being asked to speak on stages. I was being asked to mentor people. And so I said, I'm being called, right? So I stepped into that and I put aside 177 King, even though that was such a gift and an opportunity, it wasn't the time or the place for it. And I allowed my life to lead, and it has been the most beautiful unfolding in the entire world. And I know you, like me, want people to just understand like what is available. I've seen my children more in the past 4 years than I've seen in their lives. The conversations, just everything is just so, so incredibly beautiful. And I'm so incredibly grateful. And we all have the gift. It's right. It's like tuning in and trusting and moving with the impulse of where we're being called next, because I do believe we're always being guided to what that next thing is. Leading with our soul.
There we go. Yes, on point there. And I love that you said that because women that are the type A, the leaders, the go-getters, the doers, believe it or not, I mean, of course, you know this,
Mhm.
but we struggle with imposter syndrome the most, right? Who am I to step on that stage? Who am I to follow my heart, my dream? um, Sell a very successful practice and just move to Charleston where I don't know anybody. And I don't even know if my kids are going to like it there. But a lot of times just listening to your heart, your gut, just following the divine breadcrumbs that
Yes.
get dropped on our path it's insane what that does. It's
Mhm.
the same thing that's happening with Lead with Soul. Imposter syndrome is super, super real, is it not?
Yes.
Just like you,
Here.
you had your, I mean, it's not that it's gone, but your identity of who you were as that super successful cosmetic dentist in Chicago. And
Mhm.
here I am, sleep dentist, speaker,
Yes.
coach, mentor, and what am I even doing with
Author.
Lead with Soul? Author? Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
And it's when the calling is there, you
Yes.
just follow the path, you listen to your path, and you just get on it. But have you ever struggled with imposter syndrome when you got on this journey, or what did you do to overcome it?
I wanted to say as well, when you just spoke to that, that when intuition knocks, which it's always knocking, if we do not listen to it, it will continue to knock until it literally throws you off. Like something will happen. Looking back, when Dental Soiree was born, that company was born, it was because I fell and had a hand injury wearing wedges into a garden party. I took a divot in the grass. I fell, tore the ligament in my hand. And I remember when they said to me, "You're out of work for 3 months." And I looked at the surgeon and said, "I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. That's not possible. Nope." nope, nope. I tried to go to work with a hanging thumb and then went to go try to do a block and realized my thumb wasn't working. And I had pain shooting up my arm, right? But this is that masculine drive, drive, drive. I'm not listening. I'm, in that doing energy. And I was forced out. And that is where, again, the creativity, just like quarantine, kind of opened up and a business was born, right? So, so incredible. I definitely had the imposter syndrome, like that came into play when I was asked to mentor for the first time and asked to coach because I was like, but wait, I don't have a degree for that. Right? Like that was the first thing I thought of.
His 60 certificates on the wall didn't count.
Right.
We needed one more.
Correct. And you know what? I went and got it. I spent thousands of dollars to go and get it and then realized
I did not need
in
it.
hindsight, it was my experience.
Exactly.
And I absolutely knew what I was speaking to. And now this is why I try to encourage women too. I'm like, you have all the knowledge and wisdom within you. It's all within you. You can just start with what you know and what you have. And I do believe we're here to impact and extend our hand to the younger generations because we know what they don't know, and to be able to teach them what we have, failed forward doing.
Yes.
So yes, we all experience it. I mean, fear is real, ego, the perfectionism, and the programming moving through dental school. And many go from college directly into dental school. Now, me, I took a gap year. I went to dental hygiene school. I became a hygienist. I mean, I really gapped it. I did that to gap it because I wanted to play. I wanted to party. I wanted to have fun. So I did have that opportunity to live. I cannot imagine had I gone directly in and then directly out to be spit out into a dental practice, literally like pretending to be the swan with the legs that are like moving 1,000 billion miles an hour underwater. Like, absolutely not. Nervous system would have been knocked right out.
The pressure is very real. People don't see or don't understand, or worse, pretend it doesn't happen,
Right.
because there isn't so much that gets shared about it. And then it comes in the form of female doctors taking their lives, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
um,
yes, yes.
Families being torn apart. There's so much. Marriage is dissolving, right? Just because we were never given the space
Rules.
to just be, right?
Mhm.
To breathe. It's almost, I remember graduating from dental school and like feeling like I had to jump in, I had to do this, I had to do that. Um, and I have an amazing husband. I have an amazing supportive family, but as go-getters, you and I, right?
Yeah.
I always felt I lacked that space, which allowed me to just breathe. Like I have this, it's like, growing up, my grandma would tell me stories about women sitting around the fire and maybe knitting,
Mm,
maybe they're shelling peas. We
yes.
never had that.
No, that's so beautiful. The one gift I did give to myself because I got so stressed out at one point in the beginning of my career. And I remember a team member that came into my world. Her name was Jessica for a very short window. And I look back and I said, what a gift. She was planted. She was in there divinely, like put there for a reason because she introduced me. She knew I was like, I need to get out of here. Like, I need to get out of here. I can't breathe. And she said, you know what? I think you should go to Fort Lauderdale. There is the spa that you will love. Like, I knew you'd love it. And that was the beginning of the Fort Lauderdale trips that I began to take for myself every, 8 weeks or so. And I would go and I would sit by myself. And this is so interesting too, because women would be like, you did what? You went and, ate by yourself. But it was
I love
such
solo trips.
me too. But you know what? It's unfortunate that it just me too. I think I always have, but if you are so stressed, like sometimes it's just like just trust and just go. You will be so full and magnetic. It's like the people that start just talking to you and you open up. But that's where that Fort Lauderdale beach is where again I birthed so many ideas that I brought back for my practice and for other things. Because if you don't give yourself space and time, and what I feel is if you try to do that here, you're interrupted. You're interrupted by kids, you're interrupted by, you know, things that are going on here. So for me, it meant getting on a tarmac and getting on a plane. Like I had to get on a plane to go somewhere. And if that's what it means, great, amazing, you deserve it. Do it. go to a spa for a weekend or do something, allow, and it will take the first day literally just to decompress. And you've got to be okay with that. Literally just like allow and breathe and move through it. And then all of a sudden, like you'll see that next day, it's like ideas are coming in. I'm going to go for a walk and get a coffee and just breathe the air and see the seagulls. Suddenly you're noticing detail on things you've never seen before,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, just being able to be
Be,
said,
be.
just breathe, just breathe. On this new journey, when you moved to Charleston and everything, was there a challenge that showed up at that time, which I don't know, maybe felt like a failure, where you probably started to question and doubt yourself? But in hindsight, because this is what, 5 years in the making now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But
Four and a
in
half.
hindsight, was like, oh my gosh, this was the biggest blessing to have ever happened. Was there one such moment?
I will be completely transparent about the moments. So not the dental part, no, it was such a yes. And I moved so quickly. I trusted I moved. I trust it's like thank you, yes, thank you, yes, thank you, yes, right? Moving, doing all the things. It wasn't until like second year in, I started to be asked by female entrepreneurs to coach them. And then I started to feel like I was kind of betraying, like I was getting pulled out. And then I went through this thing of like, I don't think that dentists see me anymore as them. Like I went through this real kind of just darker period that I will say I've still continued to elastic band myself, like boomerang back into um, without full allowance until just recently that we are here to shine our lights really, right? And those that see our lights, like women in general, it's not because I'm the one too that always says like you're not your identity, right? You're not your degree. And yet I'm like, I don't know, because I'm not a practicing dentist anymore and I'm all of the things and I'm talking about entrepreneurs. Do they not see themselves as entrepreneurs even though my gosh they are. And so for me, yes, I went through this kind of like spiral questioning, maybe I need to come back full in. I shouldn't see them. And then I just said, "What in the heck are you doing?" Girl, recheck yourself.
Yes.
And it like you in speaking our truth transparently, opening up in how we're feeling as human beings, that opens up space for other people to see that yes, we are human and this is how we feel and it's okay. And encouraging other people to do the same because it's only through that we really process our emotions and feelings and get those answers versus again pushing them down, which then does what? Leads to dis-ease. And we don't want that. So the old subconscious stuff that is bubbling up, we need to shine a light on it and transmute that dark into light.
Yeah. Don't shove it under the rug. It doesn't do
Correct.
anything. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. How do you define leadership? Seeing how we're talking about lead with soul. How do
Yeah.
you define leadership? And with how you have evolved, how has your perspective on leadership evolved through your own evolution?
Wow, that is such a great question. And the first thing that dropped into my space was love, like booming, like loving your people. Love. I, especially even now, being open with saying I love you, right? To other dentists and like I love you, like as a human. But our teams, I always, and I know I've met your team, it's just unbelievable, right? When you lead with love, it is felt. It's a frequency, right? It's a vibe. They can feel when you are pushing things down, like they can feel it. People can feel you and feel that. And I always, when I was leading in dentistry, allowed them to dream bigger dreams. And I supported all of them. If they wanted to go to Europe, it was like that's what we were goaling for the bonus so that they could get there. And then if they wanted to move there, amazing, we were celebrating. It was always just encouraging them to do all the things. So I felt like I was a very good leader then. But now, the difference now, too, though, is letting go in that then I was still in that zone of overthinking overdoes it, where now I spelled dentistry wrong on my private Facebook page and I'm locked out and I don't care. It is what it is. I was moving fast on my phone, but a couple of people have reached out to tell me and I'm like, I did a post on it. I get it. I don't mind it. You can project that on me. I understand you do, but like I'm cool. It's the emotional intelligence. And so even with my team members now, it's like nothing really, it doesn't really matter. What matters is our truth, us taking care of one another, us loving our lives and what we're doing, having time with our families and our children. That is so important. Our health, moving our bodies, getting out in nature. So important just to connect with your breath and nature, like getting outside of the four walls that you are in working all day, because then you're even in a smaller mouth and it's like you drove to work in a box, you were working in a box, and then you go home to one. It's like there is so much life. So leadership for me really is, yeah, just living fully and encouraging the women in my world to do the same and supporting them and just loving them fully and being in complete gratitude. So, even my team, like I said, it was Easter weekend, and celebrating. And I said, take Friday off and take Monday off, and giving them, right, the time, the spaciousness to
Yes,
to lean in themselves to their lives.
for sure. For sure. I think that's where growth happens too.
Yes.
You work with a lot of high achieving women. You're one yourself. What are some of the biggest mindset blocks that you've seen show up for them?
Time and money. Time and
Mhm.
money. Time and money. Okay, this is like so loaded. Oh my goodness, because they're patterns.
Mhm.
And it all comes back again to our minds and us making a different decision, because everything is energy. Like I said, and we could talk for days on this, but money. So, what I have found with women is it amazes me in ego how everyone wants to do everything themselves and they think they know all the answers and they can figure it out. The best gift is mentorship. Mentorship, in that it's not someone telling you what to do or how to do it. It's someone being your mirror and shining back the power you already have within you back to you so you can walk through life and holding that higher vision for you, right? And so the investing, not spending, but investing the money is the best money spent. Everyone, I believe, should be plugged into someone that is expanding them,
Correct.
an expander, because that is the biggest thing. And money loves to dance. It loves to play. It doesn't want to be held on too tightly and squeezed. And the best way to think of this, I don't know if y'all have heard it, but it's like if I were to take out like a wad of bills and flash it and be like, woo, I get on stage, I'm flashing my hundreds. And it's like, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Like, whew, she thinks she's all that or whatever. But what if instead, oh, I started kissing my money. So imagine I start kissing my hundreds. I'm like, I love money. I love money. You'd be like, what in the heck? She is whatever. But if my child ran out and I pick them up and I just kiss all over them, it's the same thing, right? It's like love, appreciate, and gratitude your money, and more money will flow. It's like as soon as you block it, just like with anything that you are blocking, you're not allowing the universe to literally play. It's a game, the game of life. It's a beautiful dance when you allow it to dance between the feminine and the masculine. And the high achieving woman is always in the masculine so often, and so they're overthinking absolutely everything. Especially when it comes to time, because I remember filling my time with everything. I'd stay late after work. Instead of going home to see my kids, I'd be like, no, I need to make sure all the charts, and then I'm just going to sit here for a while. I'm going to be at work. I was at work all of the time. There is so much time that, and I know, like, that you can build back into your life and your world once you tap in. And instead of looking outside of yourself for all of the answers, the truth is all you have to do is do the 360 back in. You have a U verse. Do a U turn, because there is a U verse inside of you, your soul. Again, it's leading with soul. This is such perfection. It's the truth.
I love the you words. The only thought that came when you were talking about money, one of the things my mom has always taught my sister and I to keep in mind is if you think about money like grains of sand, if you went to Fort Lauderdale to the beach and picked
Mhm.
up the sand and you're like, and we're going to imagine that as grains of sand, you're going to hold it tight, mine,
Mm,
right? What happens? You end up losing all of that, right? And when you open
mm,
your fist, there isn't too much left.
mhm.
But if you were to leave it, Just hold it. Maybe some of it's going to fly away in the wind. Maybe some's going to get washed away by the water, but you're just letting it do its thing. Well, guess
Yes.
what? You still have a container to be able to, and I mean container, to be able to pick up more of those grains of sand. And that has been a lesson that has stuck with me. Every time, same thing. I see all these high achievers like just, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money.
Yes.
How am I going to
Always.
pay the
Yep.
bills? I can't afford to have a
Yes.
mentor. I can't afford to take that XYZ training that I want to. And I was like, no, no, no. Money is nothing but energy. If you come from that space of lack, from that space of desperation, the universe is going to reflect the same thing back because, like you said, it's the yours, right? Do the U turn into you. So I
Yes.
love that.
And in selling dentistry, if you aren't comfortable with putting your hand up and investing in yourself, how can you expect your patients to then invest in high ticket, aka a veneer case or what have it? You'll be wobbly when you're talking to them about it. So the best way is to expand yourself and be on that edge. And it is that edge of fear when you make that decision to invest where you immediately shift, and the universe loves, like I said, when you do that, because
And it
there
could be
is.
any business, right? You could be a gym
Yes.
owner, you could be a
Yep.
personal trainer, like the trainer I work with. She is constantly investing in how she grows, what she can do to make my workouts better, dialed in better for me. It's no matter what you do, if you're a baker, right? It doesn't just have to be with selling anything. It's
Yes.
how are you expanding to be able to help others expand?
The containers in the past 4 years, I've always run in my career to date, personal development next to my continuing education. So whether it was Tony Robbins business mastery, I've always been plugged in. Fast forward now, I will invest in containers that really expand me. And I share this with the women, not to impress them, but to impress upon them. The women in the groups that I am sitting at tables with are doing $1 million days. They're in the coaching space. They're coaches in the online space. Some that didn't finish high school, and
Yep.
we have degrees and we're doctors, and there's all of this questioning and holding on to money. When I mean that the possibility is my mentor has made a million, a hundred million, yes, she just hit $100 million in 5 years in the coaching space. So it is mind bending blowing, but I love it because it shows me always, I'm like, oh, what is possible, right? And you
Exactly.
calibrate to the energy of the people that you're plugged into. So you've heard the saying, everyone, you are the five people you hang around with, but there is truth to that, right? We hear about that in our practices, which is why it's so important to let go of the negative Nellies. It's better to do it yourself. But this goes for everything. In your life, the friends, whomever, and find your tribe. There's somebody for everybody. Just find that,
Yes,
right? Uniquely.
for
Yes.
sure. What habits or routines do you have or have you incorporated that have been game changers for you when it comes to productivity, when it comes to mindset, when it comes to showing up as a leader for your family, for your team?
Well, I've always been one fit. I feel that fitness is really important because I believe in moving the energy. Same thing with deep tissue massage. That's something even at Sugar Fix I used to always gift myself. I When I have deep tissue massages, it literally, I go into like my past history. When people touch certain muscles, I'm like remembering a childhood memory. Like I go into almost a meditation. So for me, like you have to find your space and place, but meditation is so important. Again, the U-verse and going within, taking time to recheck in with yourself, whether that be journaling. So I've always journaled. I do find time and space for meditations, and then working out, definitely walking. I walk every day, guided, almost probably meditative walks. I don't even use my headphones anymore. I don't listen to music. I listen to the birds and I kind of tune in. It's such a gift. And this is why I say to everyone, just find a little bit of time. But for me, it's really been those things, is just keeping to keep my mindset right, is just moving energy and staying tuned in, tapped in, and turned on to life and its magnificence.
How are you finding that balance between everything that you're doing, self-care, spending time with your family, doing things that you love, serving those that you do serve without
Yes.
out? How do you find that balance?
Yes. And my heart, I am such like my heart explodes for wanting to change the world. And so there's so much of that, right? But I have always designed had a life by design. I definitely create my life on my schedule. I did at Sugarfix, although I was seeing one-to-one in patients, but now in designing this dream life that I'm able to do it out in full time. I've even been hesitant to open White Hot because I'm like, wow, that's going to put me back into a one-to-one model. But of course I can hire someone to do it. But in the beginning, I'm like, oh, I now schedule my calls accordingly. So I stack them the same way I did my cases at Sugarfix. You know, I really compress it into the days, into 2 days back to back. And then I'm leisure. I have a CEO day where I can do whatever I desire. I can work on my business or I can go to brunch, a long leisurely 4 hour brunch with a girlfriend and sip mimosas and talk about all of the things in life. But I really feel I've never felt more balanced. And I say all the time, it's like pinch me in my dreaming life is really truly in gratitude what I feel every day with what I get to do and how I'm doing it. I have not felt any of that angst. But again, this isn't the emotional intelligence, the deeper work I have done through the masterminds that I plug into. I've learned so much about myself and how to really manage what really matters. Because at some point you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. I mean, something's got to bust.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you on that. What does leading with soul mean to you?
Ugh. Leading with your heart, your soul that sits in the seat of your heart is guiding you always, knows the plan, which is your purpose and why you're here. So I feel like many that feel off path, that feel disconnected, that feel burnt out, that aren't necessarily loving their lives, may have gotten into dentistry because that's what their parents told them to do, or that seemed like a really good idea. And that may not be what they're here to do or for, right? What they're here for. And so to listen, again, it comes back to leading, comes back to turning within and listen, getting really quiet, which will take some time to get out of the mind chatter because your mind, your ego is going to want to have the biggest conversation with you and knock you off your throne. And you just have to say, baby, take a back seat. I'm driving. Thank you. Thank you for saving my life, right? It's there for fight or flight. But besides that, no, it's your soul that literally is the wisdom and the feminine guidance and the flow to get you on your path out of the woods, out of the weeds, out of the darkness, and into that beautiful path of alignment, guiding you so that you can shine your light to create more impact in this world and on this planet. Because I believe truly that's what we're all here to do as healers and guiders, and like we're here together as one to guide and lead one another in love.
So, if somebody that's watching this is feeling stuck or uninspired, what is one action that you would ask them to take right now to move that needle? What would you say to them?
Well, I think that the best move ever, 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 because I've seen it like you've seen it, is that person that you've been following and that person that you feel connected to is sending them a DM and asking for their guidance there, because the best way ever, ever is not trying to do it yourself. Women in business try to do everything themselves. It's like you're the mom, you're everything. You're wearing all of the hats. Allow someone to guide you and take care of you. And it's the most beautiful thing. And I remember feeling this too of like, I don't need anybody, right? Like we've all been there because this is how we've been programmed. Again, but if you can realize and like tap into some of this magic, we don't know what we don't know unless somebody can mirror that. And that means reflect back to us, because our world is a reflection of what's going on inside us. And the minute you shift that, but you can't see what you can't see. So if someone can look at it through a different lens, you can start to make those micro shifts, not macro, but micro shifts. You only have to see the first stair, the first step, right? And then the clouds just lift. And then it's like one after the other. And it is so incredible. And the more, again, can we speak for a second about like, oh my gosh, the energy when women are living, I'm thinking of the the energy scale. You can look it up on Google. But when we are living in a fear, like first of all, dentistry is an old paradigm, right? An old masculine paradigm. It's like fear, scarcity, lack. It's all at the bottom. When you start to shift your frequency and vibration into like the love and the gratitude and all of that, like I said, everything around you starts to shift and you feel like a different human. This is energetics. This is energy. This isn't about doing more, learning more, being more. You are perfectly beautiful and perfect yourself right now. And you have all the tools and everything you need to do anything, infinite potential. So it's like, it's an energetics game. And I've had women in my world that literally, and I have social proof of this, right? You feel like you have to show people because it's like, trust me, I know what you're thinking. I get it because I am you. But literally in just shifting energy, the money, opening up the money for money flow and abundance. I've had one woman increase 200K. She's like, I didn't even do more. I just feel so much better. It's like, yes, this is how it works. This is how easy it gets to be and how good it gets to feel. Trust, trust, trust. Because the massages and all the things, they are quick and they're immediate fixes. But the only way I believe to completely shift is to plug in and stay plugged in, which means investing in yourself to plug into energy with someone with whom you feel connected to. Again, allowing and trusting that inner guidance. Guess what? The best part is if you decide later that you don't want to be there, you can get out. But learn. And as you expand and grow, you know what? That may not be your mentor forever. You may decide then, you know what? You're ready to move into another container. But there's always going to be a container for you as you expand and grow as you move through life, because that's what we're supposed to do. Just like trees. Trees don't have superimposed thoughts telling them, stop growing, stop growing. We're the only people as human beings that have that. And we're not supposed to be doing that. And that's why we don't feel well. We need to allow our souls to, like I said, to the ascension process and continue to be guided.
I love that. As you grow and evolve, new doors, new pathways open
Yes.
up and show up for you,
Yes.
and the right people enter your life. I mean,
Yes.
you're like, where were you at, my
Magic.
God? Well, guess what? You weren't ready for that person at that
Correct.
point. So I
Correct.
love that. I love that. Where can people find you and connect with you? Oh my gosh, I can sit and talk to you forever.
I know we could talk forever and ever. I love you so much. Okay. So I have a couple of Instagram handles which would probably drop, but I would say my main account, the one is Instagram. It's my playground. I love it. I'm not a Facebook person really. I do send my Instagrams to Facebook, but I am in the DMs on Instagram and the handle is Dr. Jessica Emery.
Awesome.
And
Yes,
then
we will
yeah.
have all that in the show notes, the description. Yes.
Yes. And I have the podcast Happy CEO podcast too. So Happy CEO is the brand that I have started since I've been in Charleston for all women like you, like just we are here to help you all rise and feel amazing in your bodies and just wake up to this just incredible life, right? That we all get to lead with our
Absolutely.
souls. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And as we wrap up, one final question. What is exciting or new that's coming up for you that we could all celebrate for you and with you?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I have actually just stepped back into my creative in my trying to figure out what Dennis wanted and in when I was sharing that boomerang effect kind of thing. I wasn't really living complete. I was going off path. And so I've come back and I've created Happy CEO House, HAUS. And for me creatively, I've got like the CEO suite and all these rooms, and I'm really, really excited to lean into this. So Launch Lab Academy is a program that's under the roof of this, and it was literally probably a year in the making. A really big program that I'm really excited about launching. So thank you so much for asking.
Yes,
Um,
super excited. We will keep our eyes and ears open for your big
thank you.
announcement. And
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, so much for coming on, taking this time out of your very busy day to chat with me. And
Thank you.
just love you so much. Thank
I
you.
love you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. And I can't wait to continue following
Oh my
just your
gosh.
amazing journey online.
Likewise, it goes both ways.